Hey MJ, we hope you all had a lovely spring break, and we know it'll be hard to pay attention today.
But we have lots in store today, discussing ACT info, senior night, and your crazy weather report.
Along with some sports and trending news. Hello MJ, welcome back to WBNN Channel 9 News. I'm Abby.
And I'm Jacob, and today is the first day of spring and also International Day of Happiness. And man, am I feeling extra happy to be back in school today.
Yeah, me too. Now let's pass it to your weather girl, Sabrina.
Hey MJ, it's Sabrina. Now that spring break is over, we'll have some pretty nice weather this week. Today is the first day of spring. It will be partly cloudy, the high of 77 degrees. Tomorrow, the afternoon will reach the upper 60s, but it will most likely rain at some point. There may be a stray shower in the morning, and there will most likely be scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon to late evening. The rest of the week will be partly cloudy. It will reach 57 on Wednesday, 65 on Thursday, and 70 on Friday. I'm Sabrina, and that was your weather update. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sabrina. We have some good news from the turnout from the blood drive.
We had a wonderful turnout of over 100 donors, and we got 68 units of blood.
Amazing job, MJ.
Now let's pass it off to Jackson with what's trending now.
Hey everyone, I'm Jackson, and buckle your non-existent seatbelts because we have things. First up is prom. Tickets are on sale for $75. But if you have an ID, it gets knocked down a whole $5 to $70. So just pay up now. The Foreign Language Olympics is coming up on April 5th from 3:20 to 5:20 p.m. in the small gym and cafeteria. The results are in for the Move to Stand fundraiser. We raised a total of $219 for Move to Stand. Excellent job, MJ. And now, ACT things. So basically, tests will be happening for freshmen to juniors tomorrow, while seniors will be out and about all day, job shadowing, going to colleges, and other exciting things. To those taking tests, be sure to get a good night's rest tonight and eat a healthy and big breakfast. And according to the website I ripped these tips off from, relaxing the night before the test helps too. And that's about it. Here's a video to help as well.
As many of you know, on the ACT, I want you to answer every single question. So if the proctor says you have 2 minutes left, I want you to set aside time to put an answer on every single bubble in the whole Scantron sheet. They only count the ones you get right, so that's the blessing about the ACT. If you have trouble finishing any of your sections, you will get a better score if you go more carefully through 3/4 of each section instead of rushing through the whole section and getting half of them wrong. I want to break it down by section here on how to adjust your time if you have trouble finishing each of the sections in time. So for the English, the grammar, it's the first section. There are 75 questions. If you can get through 60 of them, doesn't have to be the first 60, but just try getting 60 of them right, you will get a great score. Now, this could be where you need to skip some of the longer questions. Longer questions tend to be the order of sentences. They might have you rearrange the order of sentence 1 through 5 in a paragraph. That takes a while, so leave that one out. There's another one. It's usually the last question of every mini passage in the grammar. It'll say, has the writer fulfilled his goal in talking about the topic of the early stages of Tejano music and it's one of its main singers? And if you've kind of forgotten what the theme was, this is a good one to skip and move on to those short ones that just ask you about punctuation, a comma, a semicolon, or an apostrophe. With math, you have 60 problems. So instead of rushing through and missing half of them by doing careless errors, instead make it a goal for doing 45 of the math problems well. Now, the first 30 math problems are more basic in general. I would say it's more 9th and 10th grade math. So a lot of people find that that's the easier part of the math section. However, Many of you are going through a lot of the math, that's the numbers 45 to 60. You're doing that in math class at school right now. So those are much easier for you. So I can't really say which 45 to do. So maybe it's the shorter ones. Skip the word problems, the ones that take too long. Every question's worth a point, so get your points as many as you can. With reading, you have 4 passages, each with 10 questions. So instead of rushing through, it's very hard to finish 4 passages with 40 questions in 35 minutes. So instead, go through 3 of the passages more carefully. Maybe it's your favorite 3, maybe it's the 3 that have the shortest questions. You probably know that it starts with prose, goes into social science, then into humanities, and then into natural science. So if you favor the sciences, make sure you do the 2 sciences plus 1. Or if you think prose, it's about a story about a family, and there's not usually questions that say in lines 7 to 10. So if you have trouble retaining that information about a story, skip the first one, skip prose, and go to the other 3. Basically, do well on 3 of them so that you can get closer to 30 points doing that. If you rush through 4 passages, getting 5 in each of the passages wrong, that's 20 against you. So a 30 out of 40 is a much better score than a 20 out of 40 for reading. Similarly, science is 35-minute section as well. So you have 7 experiments to do in 35 minutes, which you all know is a 5-minute experiment. A lot of these experiments have a lot to read. They have tables and graphs and keys and charts, often take up 2 pages. That's the hard part about ACT Science, is finishing in time. It's not usually the questions. The questions are pretty basic, and they have you look at the table or look at the chart and see what's increasing under what temperature, what eggs hatch, that sort of thing. So the questions themselves and the tables are not that difficult to understand. It's just getting to all 40 questions. So for science, if you really have trouble finishing in time, do 5 of them carefully and leave 2 out. A much better score will be if you can get through 6 of the 7 experiments well. A lot of my students like to skip there's one experiment that doesn't have tables or graphs, so it's a lot more reading. So that tends to be what a lot of my students will do, 6 experiments very well and skip that one without graphs. Now, of course, you're going to get the best score if you can get through 7 and do them all pretty well. But if you don't, if you have a lot of trouble finishing in time, maybe you could have used 8 more minutes, then instead go carefully through 3/4 of that science section. The essay, not everyone takes it, but I would advise taking it, the test with the writing portion, because most colleges in the nation do ask for that writing portion. So if you are taking the essay, it's a 30-minute essay. The goal is to write at least 4 paragraphs. That is an introduction with 2 body paragraphs and a conclusion. So if you can do that, that's fabulous. You'll usually get about an 8 out of 12 for doing 4 solid paragraphs. If you have time to do 5 paragraphs, an intro and 3 body paragraphs, or an intro with 2 body paragraphs, 3 body paragraphs supporting your argument, or an intro with 2 body paragraphs supporting your argument and 1 counterpoint, and then a conclusion, that's ideal. That's where you get your double-digit score. Now, if you are looking at the clock and you're running out of time, it's much more important to finish that essay with a conclusion than it is to think about another example. The ACT graders are going to take off more points if you don't allot time enough to finish an essay by concluding it. So make sure, if you're losing time, make sure you have time for the conclusion more than another example.
And finally, in tragic news, rock and roll pioneer Chuck Berry died on March 18th at the age of 90. His career practically kick-started the rock and roll movement. We will miss him greatly, and we will never forget his contributions to music. Here's a quick video to celebrate his life. I'm Jackson, and that's all for your trending news. I'll catch you later, MJ.
Thanks, Jackson.
Along with Jackson's ACT tips, we got a good tip for you.
In the reading portion of the ACT, the first passage is the lengthiest, so skip the first passage and come back to it later. This will save you a lot of time and stress.
Also, seniors, tomorrow you will not be attending school and will go visit colleges or do a job shadowing.
Juniors, at 7:50, you will head to the cafeteria for some breakfast. We highly recommend you are early to school tomorrow, and then at 8:10 you will report to your ACT testing site on the seafloor.
At 8:15, 9th graders report to their first block and 10th graders report to their practice ACT site. If your classes are the seafloor, they will be relocated.
First block will be 8:15 to 10:30. Second block will be 10:35 to 12.
Third block will be noon to 1:39, and fourth will be 1:45 to 3:15.
C4 classes will eat first lunch, B floor to second lunch, and the A floor eats third lunch. If you have any other questions about where you will be meeting or what time you're eating, ask one of your teachers.
Now let's pass it to Jonas to hear about all the sporting news that's coming up.
Hey MJ, hope you all had a great spring break. There will be open gym for volleyball on Tuesdays and Wednesdays starting this Tuesday after school until 4:30. Tonight our MJ baseball team will be playing against Portland at Vanderbilt. The game will start at 5:30. They will also play Fairview and Dyersburg throughout the week. We have a ton of MJ sporting events this Thursday, including tennis on the road against Wilson Central, softball at Lebanon High School, and soccer against Hendersonville at Drakes Creek Park. And finally, we had the NCAA tournament going on this week, where the 64 best teams in the nation went head-to-head to determine who would become national champions. Defending champions Villanova went out in the round of 32 against 8-seeded Wisconsin, and are the only 1 seed to be out of the tournament thus far. Wisconsin will play Florida in the Sweet 16 this Friday. 2 teams represented Tennessee this year, Vanderbilt and Middle Tennessee State University. While Vanderbilt was eliminated in the first round against Northwestern, who was in their first NCAA tournament appearance in 78 years, 12-seeded MTSU upset 5-seeded Minnesota in their first game, but unfortunately lost against Butler in the round of 32. And of course, we can't forget about our brackets being ruined. While there wasn't a huge buster like there was last year, there were enough upsets to have everyone out before the Sweet 16 even began, with the last perfect bracket guessing 39 straight picks before Iowa State was barely defeated by Purdue. Believe it or not, that's the longest streak of any bracket ever. It's not like the odds are in your favor. It's about a 1 in 9.2 quintillion chance that you would get a perfect bracket. Better luck next year, I suppose. That's all for your sports. I'm Jonas. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jonas. There will be cheerleading tryouts April 3rd through the 5th in the main gym after school.
Seniors, senior night is this Saturday at 7 p.m. You will regret it if you don't come. It'll be an awesome performance.
There will be senior night rehearsal after school in the theater on Thursday.
The TN mandatory promise meeting is this Thursday at 5:30 after school.
If you plan on taking advantage of the 2 free years of college, you must attend this. Now, finally, for your word of the day.
Welcome back from spring break now, Juliet.
As you know, the juniors have the ACT tomorrow.
Every single word of the day we've done over the past year has been to help you guys out.
Let's take a look at some of the words we've used to help you concentrate over the year.
Hard, complacent,
Diligent correlation.
An epiphany.
accelerating comparison of
Median.
quality,
Verge.
Expound. Obtuse.
kinetic,
Reverence.
spontaneity,
That's all for WBNN Channel 9 News. I'm Abby.
And I'm Jacob. Here at WBNN, we're in touch.
So you're in touch.
Have a marvelous Monday, MJ.